Welcome to this second episode of our contour gauge creation with xDesign. In the first episode, we created the main parts of this contour gauge. I created two housing parts to hold blades. I also created the blades and a clamping system to keep blades in position. Let's finish up this project adding standard hardware, create a knob, and make the assembly more colorful. If you haven't watched the first episode yet, I strongly recommend doing so before continuing. So I would like to use standard hardware, and for that I use 3D Experience Part Supply. This service is provided with no additional cost with any license of 3D Experience products. You can add a widget from the compass and get thousands of standard parts. For my project, I need a bolt and a nut. Let's start with the nut. Once I choose the type and dimensions, I can drag and drop directly 3D parts in my assembly. Very convenient. Of course, this is exactly like a part I built, so I can add mates and position it accurately in my assembly. See how I solved the mating error with a parallel mate instead of the coincident one. Last positioning is made with a simple face-to-face mate. Let's do that also for the bolt. I go back in Part Supply widget. I choose bolts, category, dimension, and once part is the right one, don't forget to click on the configuration, I can drag and drop in my assembly. Don't forget to click insert or you will open bolt in its own window and you would close your assembly. Of course, you can also add mates to the bolt. They are both in place. I will create a knob on the bolt head so I don't need a tool to clamp blades. To that, I create a new component in my assembly with a simple click and start on inside face of the bolt head. I will create some geometry around the bolt head and make sure there is no clearance so knob stays in place. I project bolt head and create a cylinder around it. I clean up sketch to its selection and I use this sketch for true extrusions. In one direction I add all contours for bolt thread and in other direction only outside contour for bolt head. Don't forget hole contour in the middle of course or you will get a blind hole and you won't be able to insert the bolt. You see that just selecting contours gives quickly the result you need. I hide the sketch for more clarity. I would like to add grooves on the knob to increase grip when I clamp blades, because I may need to put some efforts there. To do that, I cut knob head with a small cylinder with a cut extrude feature that will stop before the end for style. And I add fillets to remove sharp edges. I use preview to guess fillet dimension. Then I create a pattern with even distribution of the cut, but I also add fillets to this pattern. I just say I want to make the cylindrical pattern of 360 degrees, and xDesign shows how they are distributed. I increase the number so it looks nice. I would like to round outside edges with a big fillet, but for that I go back in part history with this slider, so I can put the large fillet before the grooves. Doing so, there is an error because edge I added for fillet has disappeared. I just reassign the edge and it works fine. I like to change knob color, so I select color on geometrical set. This is where you can change colors easily, and now knob is red. To finish assembly, I need bolts to keep housing parts in place, so I go back in Part Supply widget to find M3 bolts with the standard length that fits in my assembly. Again, I select category, drill down to M3 screw with hexagon socket head and choose a length. I activate the configuration, don't forget, and I drag and drop in my assembly. Again, don't forget to click on insert, not on open. Mating is fun too. I select entities and choose directions. See how the bolt turns to match the right orientation. I finish with a concentric mate. I copy the bolt holding Ctrl key while dragging the component I want to copy with left mouse button, and I do that 3 times. Then I add concentric and coincident mates to position last 3 bolts. Bolts are now mated in my assembly, so I show all the parts. I change housing color to black, remember with geometrical set, whose default name is Design Features. Design is finished, now it is printing time. Longest printing sequence is for the blades. You need to print 75 blades, but you cannot print all of them at once. So please be patient, it's worth the wait. For the knob, I prefer adding a drop of glue on the bolt head so it doesn't move with the knob, but the rest of assembly sequence is rather straightforward. So you can soon enjoy copying complex contours and create your own tailor-made parts. I hope you liked this project as much as I did, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.